In order to solve problems effectively and efficiently, we need to follow an unemotional approach. This is because emotions can cloud our judgment and cause us to make irrational decisions that do not actually solve the problem. Instead, we need to take a step back and look at the problem objectively in order to come up with the best possible solution. Here are 7 steps to adopt an unemotional approach when facing problems. No. 1. Define the problem clearly. First, we need to clearly define the problem. What exactly is the issue? What are the symptoms? What are the underlying causes? Once we have a clear understanding of the problem, we can start to brainstorm potential solutions. But many people rush this step and jump straight to finding solutions before fully understanding the problem they are trying to solve. For example, let's say your computer isn't working. So a very common reaction would be to hit it a few times and scream at it to fix itself. However, if you took a step back and really tried to understand what was going wrong, you might realize that you just need to plug it in differently or restart it. By rushing to find a solution, you might end up making things worse or wasting time on a solution that won't work. It's important to take the time to really understand the problem before trying to solve it. This will save you time and energy in the long run. So before doing anything else, take some deep breaths and try to get a clear understanding of the problem. Ask yourself questions like, what is the real problem here? What are all the factors involved? And how does this problem affect me and others? Once you have a clear understanding of the problem, you can move on to the next step, which is to gather objective information. No, 2. Gather objective information. Next, we need to gather objective information about the problem. What are the facts? What is the data? What evidence do we have? It's important to separate our emotions from the problem and just focus on the facts. This can help us to come up with more rational and effective solutions. To do this, we need to ask ourselves questions like, what are the facts of the situation? What is the data or evidence available to me? What assumptions am I making? And how might those assumptions be affecting my perspective? We then need to evaluate the information we have gathered. Is it accurate? Is it complete? Is it relevant? And what gaps in information exist? We can then take steps to fill in these gaps by doing research, talking to experts, or gathering additional data. By taking the time to gather objective information about our problem, we set ourselves up for success in finding an effective solution. It also helps us to avoid making decisions based on our emotions rather than on logic and reason. No. 3. Break down the problem. Once we have gathered all the necessary information, we can start to break down the problem. This means identifying the different parts of the problem and understanding how they are all interconnected. We can use tools such as mind mapping or fishbone diagrams to help us visualize the problem and identify the different factors involved. By breaking down the problem, we can start to see it from a different perspective and come up with more creative solutions. We can also start to identify the root cause of the problem rather than just treating the symptoms. This is an important step in solving any problem because it allows us to get to the heart of the issue and develop a solution that will actually work. If we try to solve the problem without breaking it down, we may end up wasting time and effort on a solution that does not address the underlying issue. Therefore, it is crucial to take the time to properly analyze the problem and break it down into its different components. Number 4. Generate solutions rationally. When generating solutions to a problem, it's important to be rational and objective rather than letting our emotions get the better of us. This can lead to impulsive decisions that are not well thought out and may make the situation worse. Instead, we should take a step back and think about the different options available to us. We can use techniques like the pros and cons lists or cost-benefit analysis to help us evaluate the different solutions and make the best decision for the given situation. One way to generate solutions is through brainstorming. This is a technique where a group of people get together and come up with as many ideas as possible without judging or evaluating them. This allows for creativity and encourages people to think outside the box. Another technique is the 6 thinking hats approach developed by Edward de Bono. This approach encourages people to think about a problem from different perspectives and use different types of thinking, such as logical, emotional, and creative thinking. By using these techniques, we can come up with a variety of potential solutions that we may not have considered otherwise. It's also important to be open-minded and not dismiss any ideas out of hand. Even if an idea seems crazy or unrealistic, it may still be worth exploring. By remaining rational and objective, we can ensure that we are making the best decision possible for the given situation. No. 5. Focus on controllables. When faced with a problem, it's easy to get caught up in the details and start to feel overwhelmed. However, it's important to remember that not everything is within our control. That's why it's important to focus on the controllables and let go of the rest. Focusing on the controllables means identifying the things that we can actually change or influence in order to solve the problem. On the other hand, letting go of the rest means accepting that there are some things that are beyond our control and learning to live with them. By focusing on the controllables, we can take action and feel a sense of empowerment. Trying to control the uncontrollable can lead to stress and anxiety and ultimately make the situation worse. For example, let's say you're planning a picnic, but it starts raining. You can't control the weather, so it's important to accept that and focus on what you can control, such as finding a covered area to have your picnic or postponing it to another day. Similarly, if you're feeling stuck in your career, it's important to focus on the things that are within your control, such as updating your resume, networking with others in your field, and applying for jobs. While you can't control whether or not you get hired, you can control the effort you put into your job search. By focusing on the controllables, we can take action and feel a sense of empowerment. Trying to control the uncontrollable can lead to stress and anxiety and ultimately make the situation worse. No. 6. Plan and take action. Once we have identified the things we can control, we need to make a plan and take action. This means setting goals, creating a timeline, and outlining the steps we need to take in order to solve the problem. We can also seek support from others and delegate tasks as needed. It's important to be proactive and not wait for things to happen. Taking action, no matter how small, is better than doing nothing. Even if we don't know all the details of the plan, we can still take some initial steps. For example, if we want to start a business, we can start by conducting market research and developing a business plan. Even if we haven't yet secured funding, we can still take steps to prepare ourselves and our business for success. By planning and taking action, we can feel a sense of control over the situation and move towards a resolution. It's important to remember that even if we encounter setbacks, we should not give up. We should learn from our mistakes and keep moving forward. No. 7. Review without blame. After taking action, it's important to review our progress and evaluate our results. This means taking some time to reflect on what we did, what went well, and what could be improved. We should also take into account any feedback from others and use it to make changes as needed. It's important to do this review without placing blame. This means not pointing fingers or making excuses. Instead, we should focus on the facts and be objective in our evaluation. This will help us to identify areas where we can improve and make adjustments as needed. We should also celebrate our successes and acknowledge what went well. This will help us to stay motivated and build on our successes in the future. By taking the time to review our actions and their results, we can learn from our experiences and become better problem solvers. It's important to remember that everyone makes mistakes, and it is how we handle those mistakes that determines our success. By taking a calm and rational approach to problem solving, we can increase our chances of finding effective solutions and achieving our desired outcomes. In conclusion, adopting an unemotional approach to problem solving is essential for being able to tackle challenges effectively and efficiently. By following the 7 steps outlined in this video, we can ensure that we are taking a rational and objective approach to problem solving, which will lead to better outcomes. Remember that it's normal to feel emotions when faced with a problem, but it's up to us to decide how we react to those emotions. By following an unemotional approach, we can ensure that we are making the best decisions possible. So the next time you face a problem, take a deep breath, remain calm, and follow these steps to find the best solution. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Until next time.